Atmano vikriya nasti buddher bodho na jatviti jiva sarvamalam jnatva jnata drashteti muhyati. Atmano vikriya nasti buddher bodho na jatviti Jiva sarvamalam jnatva jnata drashteti mohyati. Atmano vikriya na asti. Atman does not do anything. Intellect is never equipped with knowledge. An individual not knowing becomes deluded with the notions of I am the seer, I am the knower. Atman doesn't do anything. Atmano vikriya doesn't do anything, or it's not subjected to any modification. Buddher bodha na jatviti. Iti. Intellect is never endowed with any knowledge. Yet an individual having known all becomes deluded with the notions, I am the seer, I am the enjoyer. I am the seer, I am the knower. Jnata. Now, how are you to understand this? He's just continuing the thought. When the two unite, the indiscriminate union, or you can also go to the extent of calling it as an imaginary union. There is no such union exists. Only one thing exists, which is Atman. But when there is a union of the consciousness and the intellect, there comes about the ego, which is I know. That's all, which you already said it, isn't it? The pure consciousness plus the intellect is I know. And the ego you have, one is deluded with the notions of I am the seer, I am the enjoyer, I am the knower. So the ahankar comes in, the ego comes in. Out of this union, an intellect is it doesn't have anything in it by itself. And what gives it is the Atman. It's the union. The intellect reflects the thought and notion of I know because of Atman enlivening it. Without Atman, nothing happens, my dear. But when these two you come together, there comes about this union. Comes about this notion rather of the doership and the enjoyership, the knowership, kartritva bhavana and the bhoktritva bhavana, which he says is an illusory feeling. There is no reality. If the intellect itself is not real, how can they be the feeling of arising from the intellect be real? Unreal. So you know the story of the Margaret and the merman? Rajima seems to be nodding head. Who knows the story? Simple story. No doubt to go elaborate. RPG. I was just thinking of you and you raise your hand.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om, sir.
Can you hear me okay? I'm in a little different
Yeah,
environment today, so.
we see that.
Good
Yes.
evening. So Margaret and the Merman is a story about Margaret, who was a human, and the merman, and she has 6 children. And they're living in the ocean together, wonderful life. And one day she hears the bell toll at the church. It's that call of the divine that she hears. And the pull of that call of divinity is so strong that she leaves her family and the merman and everything, and she goes back to land, never to return to the ocean. And so it's a discourse or an explanation of the call of divinity that comes from within is the only thing that pulls you away from the illusion. And to her, the illusion was the merman and the children and everything that she thought she was rightly investing in, but it wasn't. It was all just illusory to her.
Correct. Is it possible somewhere that you have got my notes?
No, I've been, I've been studying for a long time, so these
But
stories
you
are.
see, looks like you have stolen my notes, you know.
No,
That is the problem. That's the problem with this having them in the cloud, you know. Everybody seems to have access to it, you know.
No, I've been studying for a long time, as you
I'm
know.
going to
So
see after the class, I'm going to seriously change my passwords. Huh? Right. In fact, you're perfectly right. The story of the Margaret and the Merman, as Arbijay said, Margaret is that beautiful lady who fell in love with a merman, uh, married him, half man, half fish, fell in love, and developed a family. The family grew, developed a union relationship. They fell in love. The 6 children symbolizes the kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. So the 6 children they had, and she was so caught up, so involved with raising the family. Don't ask me how is it that she could live in the ocean. It's just a story. No, she lived happily until there was that call. There was that bell in the church, the sound of the church bell. That there was that calling, and that's the calling we talk of the, the desire for mumukshatva, the desire for liberation, which she just left the family behind, and she was drawn to that call, the sound of that bell of the church, never to return thereafter. So we're all caught up in the union of the consciousness and the thought of vasanas. And there's one thought in this union to get you back to that Atman. This is what is a thing, you know. Amongst that multitude of thoughts, there's one thought each human has, which is to get back to the self. So the desire to get back to the self is there in everyone. In some, it is more pronounced. In some, it is very feeble and meek and mild. Can't be heard. But once you are driven with that desire to realize, that draws you to it, that you get hooked onto it, then nothing matters. You are then driven to the self, to the union. Then you're liberated from the clutches of that desire and the modifications, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. So each one of you have to find out what is the intensity of your mumukshatva. And how do you find out the intensity of your mumukshatva? The fact that you're here, it is there. Now, how strong it is, I do not know. My question is, how do you know what is that strength of that mumukshatva? Because every desire has a strength, no? Every desire has a has a power to drive you into a particular experience. So how do you know what is the strength of the desire for mumukshutva? It's important to know. How do you know? Gayatri Ma says depends on subtle intellect. Rajima says, would it be how much you are willing to drop the desires and attach yourself only to that desire? Tinkima says, nothing else matters, a feeling of suffocation. There is this, which Jayama has actually put in, she's put in direct to me. You may not all see that. There is a comparison of this feeling of mumukshutva or the desire for liberation. A comparison is often given to which Ramakrishna Paramahamsa talks of pushing a person's head under the sheet of water. You hold him there, and then if you ask him what is it that he wants, he would only want that next breath, and he is willing to sacrifice anything for that breath, because it is, you can't say oxygen is important. You know the value of oxygen then, oxygen is essential. So what do you all feel, that sense of suffocation, as Tinkim also used? Do you feel a sense of suffocation if you're deprived of this food, deprived of this wisdom, deprived of pursuing in the name of so-called duties and responsibilities? Everybody just has enough reasons to just justify and just get carried away and swept away by the various emotions, entanglements. I don't know. You got to ask. The power of involvement, how strongly you pursue the path, how much value you give to that. Vairagya, detachment. These are all very pertinent points to figure out. How do I know what's the strength of the desire? And also you need to know, how do you strengthen this desire? How do you feed this desire for mumukshutva? It doesn't mean somebody has to constantly ring the bell, RPG. Don't say I'm not off late, not hearing the bell, so I can't gauge. Yes, RPG.
So, can you hear me? Good.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I hear the bell. Certainly, the couple of times I listen to you every week, other discourses, that sort of thing. But what I try to do is every morning I try to ring the bell myself, and try to find half an hour to ring the bell. And that's been important, especially in this last year of COVID. I know it's been a curse for many, but there's been a silver lining in that bell tolls much louder now, just because we've, not having to come to work and you get the morning to recharge, right? And so that's been important. And to ring the bell yourself, I think, is more important. Certainly having a guru and that is great, but if you're not, the old thought of you make yourself, you mar yourself. If you make yourself, it resonates much louder.
Absolutely, yes. It's just very poetic. It's the bell is within, It's an internal calling, as we say, and unless until we have fortified these ideas, unless until you allow these ideas to resonate with you, it will not change the course of your life. It's just mere empty words without any calling, you see, because end of the day, I'm still attached to the world. I'm still drawn by the worldly fascinations. I'm swayed by the worldly fluctuations. I'm subjected myself to the lower. One of the very powerful ways of knowing is you are not available for the lower. You will say, no, thank you. I'm not interested in it. That's a very clear sign, a very clear way of knowing how much strength you have. The strength of a desire is it takes you into the environment. It's a reality, you live it. So you're not available for the world. So the world is cut off. And that's when you practice what is known as tapas. Tapas is a direct reflection of mumukshutva. Can you draw a connection between the two? Anyone? Draw a direct connection between mumukshutva and tapas. Vasantama, Terema.
Mumukshutva will drive you to stay away from other desires and conserve your energy and redirect it to the higher goals.
Correct. So the mumukshutva reflects in the form of tapas, isn't it? And tapas is defined as twofold. One is conservation of your energy into unproductive channels, which is dissipation. And having conserved it, you direct it towards the
higher goals.
A higher goal, which is mumukshutva. So when there is a clear calling, when the drive, when the desire is very strong, you would not get distracted with other avenues. So you'll almost have your blinkers on. You will not go everywhere and nowhere. Your purpose is very clear, very focused, isn't it? So mumukshutva and tapas are almost two sides of the same coin. And if we are not able to practice tapas, that means our goal is not clear. The purpose is not clear. And how do you intensify this desire? Is through these satsangs where it is food for those thought. And this gives you only the necessary strength and the impetus to further pursue. So it's not in as much as what you do, but the accent is more on what you should not do. If you're doing anti-cancelling activity, it's not going to help you. That's important. And it's purely subjective. So the path is purely individualistic. There is no standard activity which should and you shouldn't, because it's individualistic. What dissipates your energy may have no relevance to me. What dissipates my energy is not existent for you. So it's purely what is your area of your attachment? Where are your weaknesses? What is it that distracts you? Those are the areas you have to apply this quality of tapas. Again, I'm saying mumukshatva can only be fed when tapas is implemented very consciously. So avoid dissipation means where you are able to consciously disconnect yourself from the world. The non-availability to the lower is only going to make it available for the higher. It is just proportionate. Otherwise, the world will come and inundate you. So you don't allow the world to inundate you and you get drowned with those thoughts. We have not reached an extent where we are detached to the world. Once you're detached, it doesn't matter. Now, since we are trying to get attached to the higher, you need to practice physical detachment. You need to physically keep away from certain parts of the world so that the world doesn't come and disturb you. You can't be in the state of yogarato va bhogarato va. Oh, it doesn't matter whether I'm in yoga or bhoga. It's not for you. It is meant for a person who is established in the self, not for you and me. We all have to constantly be in yoga so that actions constantly take you to the goal. But once you are established in the self, how does it matter where you are? It doesn't matter. So that awareness is important. All that is not said here is all implicated. All right. So tapas is an initial step of creating conducive environment to attain mumukshatva. Yeah, anyway, you're right, Vasanti, you're right. So not to get into things which is going to pull you down, in that sense. Okay. In fact, Sai was asking this question the other day. Sai, are you there?
Hari Om Guruji.
Yes, sir. Remember you asking this question privately. He asked me this question. How is it? You only ask. Sai.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, especially we are unknowingly, I am addicted to, watching cricket. I mean, if you have nothing else to do, we watch that, and it kind of pulls you into it, and you spend the whole day. Then you realize, okay, my day has been lost just watching the cricket. I mean, especially when the team loses, you get, okay, then you are also emotionally down. So there is an emotional attachment unnecessarily, right? We are just watching them play. I mean, it's good if I play and at least have some physical exercise, but just sitting and watching and consuming all the productive time, it's been going on with or without realization. So I thought, okay, there must be a way to stop this.
So now you are able to relate the context. See, what is interesting is, I told in my little short brief answer to you, I told you it's all about awareness. Intellect is nothing but awareness. Now, what is important is you should first and foremost, when does a particular action present itself as a dissipation of energy? That is a question you got to ask.
Yeah.
Now, perhaps 6 months or 2 years before, would you ask this question, Sai? You may not have asked this question. You would have enjoyed watching television. You would have spent a considerable time watching, enjoying it. But now you're able to look at something which you always enjoyed. You look at it as it is consuming my time.
Right. For example,
See, there's a certain, isn't there a shift in perception? I'm only speaking aloud what you perhaps implicated. I could be wrong. I'm trying to understand your question.
Right. For example, if someone is working in that field, let's say he's doing some commentary or doing some reporting, for him, it may not be dissipation, as you rightly said. He's earning or he's earning his livelihood or he's
Yes,
trying to get better. But otherwise it's a source of entertainment. Maybe we can limit it instead of getting consumed by it. I mean, if we have a control over it, it is fine. I mean, we can uh, selectively do it, but once it starts overwhelming us, that's when you realize that, okay, it is eating up our productive time.
absolutely. Yeah. So you spelled out it out. You spelled it out, Sai. And I'm glad I'm able to draw a connect to what we discussed offline and to the context. So when you consider an action, it is a source of entertainment, but now you say, no, it is nothing wrong with watching cricket, but I perceive this action as a dissipation or drain of my valuable energy in terms of time or resources or whatever it could be. So the very same action which mattered to you most starts presenting itself as irrelevant, insignificant. Life can go on even if I don't watch it live. Perhaps I could watch it end of the day. I could watch the highlights, irrespective whether the team is playing well or not. I'll get a bird's eye view end of the day. It's not that I should be. I know people. A fellow came to me, Sai, long ago. He said, Guruji, whenever India is playing, the previous night I can't sleep. I said, why? Are you in any way playing or related to the thing? No. I can't sleep because I am sitting in constantly deciding who is the best combination for the match, and I'm so excited. I'm awake. I can't sleep. So he got so paranoid with it, got so addicted to it that he can't sleep.
Yeah, it's a big problem for the students and
No, we should not blame the world, please. You should blame our inability to manage the mind, isn't it? It's not the world. It's a beautiful sport. It's a beautiful activity. But if you're not able to manage it, it's a weakness for you. So it's as simple as the intellect able to keep your mind at bay. You will not fall a prey to that particular desire. It could be this, it could be anything else. It could be work, it could be family. I know there are people who worship the family day in and day out, every moment. And they're constantly only family, as if it's everything and anything in life. That doesn't mean you should neglect the family, but you will understand, yes, it has a space and I must have a certain space for my own development. So you're able to withdraw, keep away yourself from that mental space so that you're able to give yourself the a direction to your thoughts. So the question I ask is, an activity which interests you, you start looking at it as a futile exercise. That is known as vairagya. Even that is in line to mumukshatva. You may have viveka. Viveka is of no use. To be able to dabble with these words and ideas and concepts is of no use. It is good to entertain others, but it's of no use to you. I can enlighten you with these ideas, but it doesn't help me in any way. But what helps me is vairagya. And often heard this, a true guru is interested in the vairagya of a student, not the viveka of a student. You know, how many students you have, how much it's not how much you produce, it's not your exterior that matters. A true guru is interested in the vairagya level of a student. So vairagya is, you feel, what is vairagya? Budriji, you understand the word vairagya?
Pranam. It is loosely understood as some kind of detachment. Okay. So you don't let something affect you. You are in something, but you don't let it affect you. So so it is a state of being in it but not in it. You don't change
Sir,
your physical circumstances, but you change your attitude towards your circumstances.
No. See, we are just to, no, you're not wrong at all. I'm just trying to bring in line. We said mumukshatva, we spoke about tapas.
Right.
Now we're talking about vairagya. So tapas and vairagya are trying to protect the mumukshatva, which is the desire for the higher.
Right. In this context, vairagya would mean giving up that which takes away from the single-mindedness of your quest, which is the mumukshatva. You have to be focused. So anything which is taking you away from that focus, your ability to give that up is vairagya.
A capacity to
give it up without, and also give it up without feeling some kind of frustration. If you have the frustration,
then it's no giving.
Giving it up.
Then it's no giving at all.
Yeah,
you're only putting on a garb of renunciate.
Right. So you have to joyfully give up that which you think is dissipating your energies from what you really want to do.
Correct. So when you consider a certain action as dissipative in nature,
right?
But the question is, how do you develop dispassion towards actions where your passion? For example, taking the example of Sai and the discussion we had, that when cricket is such a dissipative energy, I consider, but I'm so passionate about it. How do I look at it as dispassion?
Yeah, in fact, that rang a bell because I used to be like that as a kid. I couldn't sleep before a major match. Okay, because I used to.
Okay.
Thoughts would, but over a period of time, this is what is maturity. Now, this maturity takes various forms, and one of them is to give something its right place in your life. And there was a time when it had a bigger place in your life. Then, as we mature, those things shrink, and when they shrink, you shouldn't feel frustrated, or you shouldn't start longing for the past. Oh, those good old days, kind of thing. Those were not good old days. They were good for that time, but now I've matured and I have something else to think about. So for instance, I moved from that watching matches live. When you watch a match live, you're in it, okay, and then you watch it. I'm saying in the stadium, okay, and then now you watch it on TV, and then, as you said, you're happy with the highlights, and finally you might be just happy with reading the score. These days I'm like that. Quite often I'm just happy looking at the score and knowing what happened, and that's about it. So the same game which used to consume so much of my energies today consume naturally. Now, can that be extended to other things? Cricket is not the only thing. So yeah.
Maybe age has played a role there.
Perhaps. You're saying I've lost energy. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying possible it's because of age. No.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying, and so it is that when you, I like the word, one of the words you use, when you, I can't recall what you said. When you said that, I said, that's a very nice way of putting it. What is that? No, but you have rightly said, where it doesn't matter to you anymore. You're able to withdraw from it physically and mentally. See,
sorry to interrupt you. Can we call it spiritual maturity? I said I matured from that state. Now, extending it to everything else, the spiritual maturity is your progress towards mumukshatva, isn't it?
Yes, yes. It is nothing but spiritual maturity, where you are able to give this desire a precedence over other things.
Right.
So it's not just having, if you are not able to hold on to it. So the whole discussion of tapas and vairagya is because it just tells you, signifies you to what extent that does that desire matter to you.
Right.
It's not a question of having it and say, and then I do everything else but this. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really help, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, you're very right, Ji. Harishji, you wanted to convey something? Please go ahead.
No, Guruji, I think Badri has said it adequately. What he didn't mention is that he and Ram exhausted their cricket vasanas by bowling at me.
Oh, that we didn't know that part of the story.
I'm still a wounded soldier. No, Guruji, I think it's essentially exactly what he said. That I know colloquially you say a devil's mind is idle mind is a devil's workshop, but that means, I mean, you stretch it a little, and whenever you immerse yourself in an activity to the exclusion of everything else, then you're focused only on that, and therefore other things don't matter at that point in time. And when that particular focus is towards a higher cause, then it also doesn't create in you any pang or loss of or feeling that you have lost something, right? And therefore it's like a willing withdrawal from the lower, etc. Because it's a higher. But when you conversely, if you were to focus completely on a lower activity, then it does create, then the withdrawal of that to that in exclusion of others does create a pang. So I think the essential thing is to immerse yourself with into any activity which is of a higher nature, and automatically the importance of the lower falls away, which is probably what has happened in the case of the cricket analogy.
But as Soumya says, you are retired hurt. See, the beautiful example of renunciation is often given. See, renunciation is like when a flower matures into a fruit. So the process of the maturity of a flower into a fruit. So when the flower matures into a fruit, the petals drop off. And that process of the petal dropping off is automatic, isn't it? As a beautiful example often given. So renunciation is maturity. Vairagya is maturity. Vairagya or renunciation is not giving up the lower, but is rather maturing into the fruit. So you need to mature from a flower into a fruit so that the petals drop off. So the lower fades off, drop off because it has matured into a fruit. So when these higher values mature in you, the value for the lower drops off. So it is an effect of getting, you have attributed a greater appreciation to the higher, and the reflection of that is the lower drops off. And to expedite that, you need to practice tapas. So tapas is the sadhana. Vairagya is the state. It reflects in protection of that mumukshatva. So tapas is the sadhana. Vairagya is the state you reach at every level. And that ensures and protects the desire for the higher, which is mumukshatva, the desire for liberation. So these two ensure that the seed is nurtured always. Tapas and vairagya. And a job of a guru is to protect you from getting attached to anything else. A true guru encourages a student to develop an attachment to him, to the cause, to the ideal, so that you don't get attached to anything else. And ultimately, a guru ensures that you get detached to him itself, so that you move on. So that's the job of a guru. So if you have a guru in your life, and if you have surrendered, just because having a guru and a photograph in your life or a picture in your life doesn't matter. No, I have his photograph in my wallet also, but that doesn't make a difference. It's not that. It's surrender. When you surrender to him and allow a guru to influence your thinking, because a guru can clearly see where you're attached. He can clearly know what your areas of weakness are. So if you allow him, he can give you a necessary, because as we often know, a guru is not meant to comfort you. A guru is not meant to comfort your ego and pat your ego. A guru's job is to knock your ego. Give a tight whack. Is to knock your ego off, put your ego off balance and say, get on. So if a guru is doing that, he is a guru, not to feed your ego. So don't misunderstand these great men. They're only doing to uplift us. All right. Okay. Setuji, are you following, sir?
Very much.
Right, sir.
I just wanted to, Guruji, share that in the
Yes,
last nearly 2 years or so, but more so in the last 1 year, I have willingly withdrawing. I was in many verticals and withdrawing from my Indian Institute of Chemical Engineers and Rotary. I am still a Rotarian, active Rotarian, but I only attend service activities. Rest all programs which that automatically I am dropping off. It is happening. So,
sir, your co-Rotarian is laughing, sir.
huh?
Your co-Rotarian is laughing.
Yeah.
Gayatri Ma is laughing.
Then she knows.
No, I know she knows. I'm just saying. Yes. See, yes, sir, please go ahead. You were saying something else.
Then I just wanted to share. I have been experiencing, but I have to go a long way at the same time. Yeah.
No, we are all in this journey. We're all in this journey, So, yes. Right, sir. In fact, whenever I see Gayatri Ma, I keep asking this question. In the question, Gayatri Ma?
I don't know.
And I keep seeing her very often. I will not keep asking, Enna Ma, why don't you resign the job?
That, yes.
She's so dedicated to her work and things. I say, well, just give up, resign the job. I hope I'm not serious about it. I'm just saying, it's
But I am serious,
subjective.
Guruji. It keeps on haunting me. I have to give up.
So each one is different. Each one has a different thing. So there is a clear, each one feels inwardly, and a guru only means a knowledge helps you to expedite it. It's not a natural vairagya. It is knowledge is that which is injected, so that you consciously develop that spirit of detachment. It's not something, it's because of time and age and things you give up something, because it's not because of time, it's because of conscious efforts. And time is very, very precious. You cannot afford to lapse the practice of tapas. The true quality of a student is tapas, how serious you are. So in the priorities of your life, like all important priorities of your life, where would you place this knowledge? I'm not asking you guys, I'm just saying, in the list of priorities, where would you place this? In fact, a very interesting comment other day, Padminima sent to Rajima, and it was shared with me also. Rajima, can you share? Maybe she's not able to reconnect or collect
I don't remember.
the message. You remember? Solungo.
I missed that one of the sessions. I felt so bad. Yeah, I was feeling very miserable. Is that?
Yes, yeah.
Can
and then
I quote the message?
Yes, please.
I don't mind missing my breakfast, lunch, dinner, but when I miss this class, I feel miserable and there is a feel of vacuum inside me.
Yes, honestly.
I could truly connect with you when you said that. It's nothing of mine in this, but it's the knowledge and what it means to you. So sweet of you when you said that. It's the calling. So where would you? So she doesn't mind missing breakfast, lunch, dinner. Now, where would you place this? Hariji? Somebody is willing to skip breakfast and dinner. What are you willing to sacrifice? At least breakfast for us?
The in-between snack, Guruji?
Ah, correct. Start with that. Yeah. In fact, one of my advices to Harishi earlier, that try to avoid in-between meals. Was it not that? And I said that would give great benefit for your health, and it creates appetite for food. Which not that Harishi requires any help there, but however, so so where would you place this knowledge? It's like saying earlier I made a statement: is oxygen essential or oxygen important? You can't live without it. It's essential. So can you give? It's not you giving. Do you realize the presence of this knowledge as essential for your survival? Is it to that extent? Can you put it? I don't need a job. I don't need a roof over my head. I don't need companion. I don't need emotions. I don't need anything. Is this alone enough? Yeah, having got everything right, 2 classes a week I'm coming, convenience of my home. I can just switch on the computer and I sit. Tomorrow when the COVID finishes, if I have to travel a little distance, I will think, is it going to be online also? This is a very convenient, in the comfort of my couch, I can sit, press a button and sit and listen. All wisdom will come into my couch. Don't want to put effort to go to the guru and also learn. You want everything to come. But then, petrol cost, everything will be cost also involved, no? Period calculation. Calculator will take out. Where is this? Where is a student? An ideal student would have left his things, left the family, left everything behind, plunged into the jungle, into the woods, just in hope of finding a master who could satisfy this urge to gain this knowledge. No guarantee he would find a guru. You would go to any length to get this knowledge. Now, I'm not suggesting anything that this Zoom is going to end any time. So I'm just talking of your comfort zone. You want everything conveniently coming to you. If you want it, you will put the effort and go and get it. So we will make it as convenient as possible, but you don't take anything for granted. There is no guarantee this knowledge will continue. You take it for granted. The day you take it for granted, you lose it. You've got to value every opportunity. So where do you place it? I place the self above everything else. Everything else comes next. This is oxygen for me. I'm very clear about it. Without this, I'm fish out of water. I'll die. That's how you should. It's not trying to announce. I'm not trying to announce anything to the world. I'm saying that's how you should. That's how it should be, you know. Okay, we'll certainly come back to verse 27. Okay.